She never loved you. Not in the way you believed. Not in the way you built your hopes around. What she truly needed was for you to think she loved you. She needed your belief, not your heart. And now, as the truth sets in and the illusion collapses, does it hurt? Good. Let it. Because pain, unlike her words, doesn't lie. Pain is honest. Brutal, yes, but honest, and sometimes that's the only thing left to trust. Look at yourself. Look closely. You see a good man. The gentleman. The polite, kind soul who told her she was beautiful every morning, who made her feel safe, cherished, prioritized. You thought that was the way to her heart. But here's the truth you've been blind to her, you are invisible. Worse, you're predictable. And in the secret code of female desire, predictability is the death of attraction. There is something ancient and primal in her. A force carved into her biology through thousands of years of survival. Even she doesn't fully understand it. But it pulls her, away from the man who worships her and toward the one who barely notices her. It's not evil. It's evolution. For millions of years, the women who survived weren't with the sweet talkers or the gentle dreamers. They chose the hunters, the warriors, the men who could kill for them, not the ones who died because of them. That biological program hasn't stopped. It runs silently in her nervous system every day, whether she acknowledges it or not. You believe love is built on communication, understanding, tenderness. She says she believes that too. But her body tells another story. Her desire isn't drawn to safety. It's drawn to danger, uncertainty, emotional risk. That's why her eyes light up when she talks about the ex who treated her like she was nothing. That's why her voice changes when she describes the arrogant boss everyone hates. That sparkle you see? That's not trauma. That's raw, unfiltered desire. And no, the man she wants is not abusive or cruel. He's something more dangerous, he's uncontrollable. He can't be tamed. He doesn't ask for permission. He challenges her, not out of spite, but because he doesn't need her. And you? You're the man who does. You're the man who is always available. Always giving. Always there. You're stable, you're sweet, you're everything she says she wants, and that's exactly why her instincts reject you. Even the philosopher Schopenhauer knew that love is a species-level trick, a beautiful lie to keep humanity reproducing. But he didn't go far enough. Love is more than deception. It is war. And in this war, the civilized man, the man who plays by the rules, always loses. You want to know what she really means when she says she wants emotional connection? She wants to feel. Not think. Not process. Just feel. And the deepest feelings are born not in comfort, but in chaos. In not knowing. In suspense. In danger. Does he love me, or is he playing a game? Will he call back, or has he already moved on? That uncertainty? That emotional whiplash? It's addictive. And you, with your open heart and soft hands, are her rehab. You are the medicine she doesn't want, the methadone when she craves heroin. That's why she pushes you away. Do you remember Napoleon? He ruled Europe, but he couldn't rule Josephine. He sent her desperate letters from the battlefield while she entertained lovers in Paris. The most powerful man in the world, reduced to a beggar. That was love, too. The love of a man who needed a woman more than she needed him. Sounds familiar, doesn't it? Because you've begged too. You've waited for a reply that never came, pleaded for her attention while she gave it freely to men who never even asked. The monster she craves doesn't beg. He doesn't need her validation. He's driven by a hunger she can never satisfy, a hunger for purpose, for conquest, for something beyond her. That's why she desires him. Because he doesn't orbit her. He is his own sun, and she wants to be pulled into his gravity. Women aren't masochists. They're not cruel. They are biological strategists. They are wired to desire what is valuable, and value always comes from scarcity. If your love is free, limitless, unconditional, it becomes worthless. Her desire obeys the laws of economics. Supply and demand. Remember when you were a child and wanted the toy you couldn't have? You thought about it day and night. Then you finally got it, and within days, it was gathering dust in a corner. That's you now. You're the toy that's too easy to reach. Too predictable. Too safe. The monster, on the other hand, is the toy behind the glass. Always visible, never fully accessible. Always just out of reach. Thomas Hobbes once said, "Man is a wolf to man." But he was wrong. Man is a lamb to woman, when he forgets he was born a wolf. That's the true reason your relationship died. Not because you were unkind or insensitive. But because you stopped doing the one thing that matters most, you stopped being dangerous. Not dangerous in a violent sense, but dangerous in an existential one. You stopped being a mystery. You stopped having a mission outside of her. You made her your everything, and in doing so, you became nothing. You became predictable. Safe. The emotional equivalent of lukewarm water. If you want love, fine. But don't let love turn you into a house pet. Don't let it neuter your instincts. Don't let it tame the wolf. Because once the danger dies, so does the desire. The monster every woman secretly desires is not a brute. He is not the abuser or the violent man society warns her about. No, that would be too easy to reject. The real monster is far more dangerous, because he does not announce himself. He is composed, magnetic, and impossible to contain. He is not loud, but his presence is louder than the man who constantly tries to please. He does not chase, he walks away. And in that act of walking away, he draws her in more powerfully than any romantic gesture ever could. He is not safe, not because he is cruel, but because he is untouchable. His world does not revolve around her. He exists within a universe of his own making, a man on a mission, a force in motion, and she is pulled toward that gravity whether she admits it or not. He is emotionally elusive, unpredictable, and sovereign. And that is exactly what makes him desirable. In contrast, the good man, the one who listens, who remembers, who is always there, is the man she believes she should want. He is the man she introduces to her parents, the one she brags about on social media. But deep inside, her body doesn't light up when he texts. Her heart doesn't race. Her breath doesn't catch in her throat. Why? Because he is predictable. Because he poses no challenge. Because he has made himself entirely available, and in doing so, he has made himself ordinary. The monster, however, holds a part of himself back. He is a mystery she cannot solve, a puzzle with missing pieces she can't stop trying to find. He doesn't offer answers, he offers questions. And questions create tension. And tension? That's the breeding ground of desire. He is the one who makes her feel alive, the one who awakens instincts in her she cannot explain. Not because he treats her poorly, but because he doesn't treat her like she's the prize. He treats his life, his purpose, his own self-respect as the prize, and that, ironically, makes her want him more. This monster is not chaos. He controls chaos. He doesn't yell. He doesn't plead. He doesn't chase. He commands. With his silence. With his standards. With the way he refuses to be easily understood. He is not needy. He is not available on demand. And most of all, he does not need her validation to breathe. And that, right there, is what makes him dangerous. Not to her safety, but to her control. He cannot be tamed. And she will never admit it, but that's exactly why he lives in her mind long after he's gone. Desire is not polite. It doesn't care about morals, checklists, or what society says a woman should want. It doesn't come from her reasoning mind. It rises from the parts of her shaped by survival, long before language existed, back when fire and shelter meant everything, and the wrong man could mean death. For millions of years, women weren't choosing partners for poetry or good intentions. They were choosing protectors, hunters, men who could dominate their environment. The ones who didn't ask for love, they demanded respect by the very nature of their presence. And that instinct, buried deep in her DNA, still whispers to her today. Despite the world changing, her biology hasn't. She can say she wants kindness, but her body reacts to confidence. She may list honesty as a requirement, but her pulse betrays her when a man looks at her with indifference. That racing heart, the flushed skin, the rush of uncertainty, it's not a glitch. It's nature. It's strategy. Her evolutionary programming is drawn not to the man who kneels, but to the man who stands tall and doesn't flinch when she turns away. Because in her subconscious, a man who needs nothing from her must have everything going for him. And a man who gives his attention freely, who offers his time, energy, and emotions like they're on sale, signals only one thing: low value. Scarcity creates worth, and her biology knows that. Just as predators are drawn to movement, she is drawn to emotional tension. Not because she's broken, but because the ancestors who felt that tension, the ones who chased the rare, elusive man, were the ones whose children survived. Desire isn't about compatibility. It's about instinct. And instinct always chooses the man who doesn't just survive the world, but bends it to his will. That's the monster. The one who challenges her, the one who might leave, the one who doesn't need her love to feel whole. And though she may never speak it out loud, her body has already chosen him, before her mind even catches up. She will never admit it, not fully. Not even to herself. If you ask her what she wants in a man, she'll say the right things. Someone kind. Someone emotionally available. A good communicator. Someone who makes me feel safe. She believes these words. She repeats them like a mantra, convincing herself that they are true. And on the surface, they are. She wants to want the nice guy. She wants to believe that her heart follows logic, fairness, and stability. But late at night, when she's alone, when no one is watching, she dreams of the other one. The one who doesn't chase her. The one who doesn't fold for her attention. The one who feels like a challenge, a mystery, a danger she can't fully explain. Why won't she admit it? Because admitting that she desires the monster would unravel the identity she's carefully built. Society has told her what a good woman should want. A good woman chooses the stable man, the provider, the gentle heart, the one who gives her the world on a plate. To admit she's turned on by the man who withholds, who vanishes, who commands space without explanation, that would make her feel guilty, shallow, even ashamed. So, she hides it. She files it away under bad decisions, or blames her past for the attraction. But it isn't a mistake. It's instinct. And instinct doesn't ask for permission. There's also fear. The monster is not safe, not in the emotional sense. He is unpredictable. He can disappear without warning. He evokes feelings she can't control. And control is what she clings to in a world that constantly tries to control her. So she denies the attraction to protect herself. She seeks the man she can control. The one who answers every text, who never raises his voice, who never makes her doubt. But deep down, in that buried place she rarely visits, she knows something's missing. The fire. The ache. The thrill. The feeling of being completely alive in his presence. That's the silent war within her, between her mind and her biology. Her mind wants peace. Her biology craves chaos. Her mind wants reliability. Her instincts crave the storm. And rather than face this contradiction, she does what most people do when truth becomes too heavy: she lies. Not to hurt anyone, but to keep her own story intact. Because to admit the truth would be to admit that the man she loves isn't always the man who makes her feel. And that's a reality too many are too afraid to touch. Now we dive into the most intimate and uncomfortable truth of all, something she'd never dare say aloud. Every woman, deep inside, carries shadows. Emotions she's told to suppress. Rage. Lust. Chaos. The hunger to not be nice all the time. Society teaches her to be soft, pleasant, and polite. But this monster? He doesn't ask her to smile. He doesn't flinch when she shows her scars. He welcomes her darkness. He doesn't turn away when she's angry. He doesn't shame her when she wants more power, more pleasure, more control. He's the only one who can look her in the eye when she's crying from frustration and say, "Good. Let it out." He doesn't rescue her, he respects her. He doesn't tame her wildness, he feeds it. Why? Because this monster isn't afraid of her power. He actually wants her at her most unleashed, because that's when she's closest to her true self. And the truth is, she craves that feeling. To be fully seen, even in her madness. To be held without being fixed. To be loved without conditions. But of course, admitting this would mean peeling off every social mask she's ever worn. And so, she stays silent. She pretends she wants the prince, while secretly aching for the monster who'd never ask her to be anyone but herself. No matter how much this desire simmers beneath the surface, most women will never confess it, not to their friends, not to their partners, and sometimes, not even to themselves. Why? Because society has taught women to suppress these wild, primal urges. From childhood, they're told to seek stability, to prioritize kindness, to value emotional safety over raw passion. So even if a woman finds herself daydreaming about the kind of man who could destroy her and protect her in the same breath, she'll quickly push it aside with shame or guilt. To admit that you want someone dangerous, someone powerful enough to destroy the world but chooses not to, is to go against every rule written in the polite manual of modern womanhood. It's taboo. It's scandalous. But more importantly, it's misunderstood. This desire isn't about wanting actual danger or violence. It's about the thrill of power restrained. The excitement of knowing the man next to you has a storm inside him, but for you, he becomes calm. That kind of control, that kind of loyalty, that kind of intensity, it's intoxicating. Still, if she were to say it out loud, people would twist her words. They'd label her as broken, as having daddy issues, or accuse her of glorifying toxicity. So instead, she keeps quiet. She watches from a distance. She might even write stories or read books where the dark, dangerous man is secretly gentle only with her. Because in fiction, it's safer to explore what's forbidden in reality. And sometimes, she marries the safe man, the soft man. The one who never raises his voice, never takes the lead, never makes her feel that wild, electrifying pulse of fear and fascination. And while she may love him, there's a part of her, a quiet, secret part, that wonders what it would be like to be devoured by the storm. That's the monster every woman secretly desires. Not a real beast. Not a brute. But a man who has chaos in his soul, and chooses to become her peace. And deep down, she knows, that monster will never truly die. He'll live in her fantasies. He'll haunt her quiet moments. He'll be the shadow behind every love song that makes her heart beat a little too fast. But she'll never say it out loud. Not because it isn't true, but because it's too true.